Welcome to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Charity Majors, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women, because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas, because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to be here with you today on this quick sip episode. Now, if you're new here, quick sip tips are kind of your quick episodes where you get in, get out, get what you need, and get on with your day. And I'm your host for these. I'm Charity Majors. I'm the founder of Business and Bubbly. And today we are going to be chatting a little bit about boundaries in business. Dun, dun, dun. Now, maybe this is new for you, or maybe you're like, actually, I'm good. I've got like clear cut lines. Like I'm in from 9 to 5 and like, that's it type of a thing. But I know for me, and I was actually just having this conversation with one of our girls in our chapter, and she was mentioning her really needing some help when it comes to boundaries in her business. And if you haven't necessarily heard of boundaries for your business, this is a super, super helpful thing. And if you haven't implemented boundaries before, it can get a little messy as you implement them. So I'm going to give you an example. So boundaries, first and foremost, they're not meant to be walls. They are meant to be fences. Okay. And if you can imagine kind of a boundary line of like your property, right? Like if I'm sitting in my house right now and I'm thinking of the boundary line of my property, right? Like it's a clear cut line where this is what I am responsible for. And the rest of it, like I'm responsible for my yard, for my house, right? Like my neighbor is not responsible for like doing my laundry and mowing my grass. And I'm not responsible for her mess that she, like her own mess and stuff that she has going on too, right? So that's kind of this concept of boundaries. And when it comes to them, what can be really interesting is, especially with everything being online and our phones being in our hands and super accessible, is that boundaries can get kind of messy and they can get kind of gray and they can start to bleed into, right? Boundaries can like become this thing that are non-existent because of how accessible things are with our phones, with our computers, with our laptops, with everyone being, online and mobile and whatever. And when it comes to setting those boundaries between life and business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a woman in business, a business owner, a personal brand, maybe a coach or a speaker, author, influencer, right? Like these things can get kind of gray. I was actually speaking with one of my influencer friends, and she was mentioning how she was kind of getting tired of like they joke that like Instagram has to eat before my husband and I do on date night. So it's like she has to like film like the pretty whatever food thing of her food before they can even touch it. And she's just like the boundaries of her life and business. She's like, what if I just want to go on like date night with my husband and I don't care about taking pictures of my food or like sharing this picture of this drink. Like I just want to have a drink and like have a meal with my husband without having to show the world about it. But that is part of like what she is doing as an influencer. So there are times where she does get tired of it. And that's okay, right? Like she's totally allowed to. And so when it comes to these boundaries in business, we have to understand that it not only takes communication, like I just mentioned, like my influencer friend who was just like Instagram has to eat before she does on date night with her and her husband. Luckily, her husband is supportive. Like he understands that that's her job, that that's her position when it comes to social media, that some of those boundaries are a little blurred and there has to be grace and understanding with those in your life. And we also have to understand that with those in our life, that they are what is most important. And when boundaries start to kind of grow into things that are hurting those things that are most important in our life, then that's where boundaries are not. They've kind of gotten too much, right? Or they're non-existent anymore. So for example, this would be like one of the boundaries that we can set when it comes to our business, especially when it comes to our phone, are time limits, right? Because it can be really easy to get sucked into quote unquote saying that you're working. Oh, I'm doing my social media for my business, but what you're actually doing is scrolling, right? So boundaries actually come with a certain level of honesty and accountability, as well as actually, this is the truth of what it is. Like, how many hours are you spending on Instagram scrolling? And I say this because this is something I have to really keep a tight leash on for myself personally, as well as it was a boundary that I had to learn the hard way in the past, right? It was I'm just making these connections on Instagram for my business because I can sell these people these shakes and I'm just having these conversations. And it's like, no, I was not really. I was like, when I got really honest with myself, I was scrolling. And when I got really honest with myself, I was doing business all wrong, but it was bleeding into time with my family. And it was bleeding into just me always having a phone in my face compared to actually having conversations with real life people or with people in real life. Right. So when it comes to boundaries, we have to not only set clear boundaries around time, right? So maybe you're time blocking. So time blocking is one of my favorite things to do. So this is okay, for 20 minutes, I'm going to set a timer and that is the time I can get stuff done on Instagram. Or I'm setting this 90-minute timer and that's how long I'm going to sit down and write my email content for the next month, right? I'm going to sit down for, and when it comes to not only time, but location can also be really, really helpful. So I'm going to give you this example. So my husband, Chris, I love him. He's an amazing man. And he's one of my favorite people on the planet. But it's really funny because, and maybe you have a husband, a brother, a spouse, a partner, whatever, right? You have someone that comes in
And for me, I'm pretty good with boundaries. I'm like, everything has a space, right? Like the kitchen is where we eat, like the bathroom is where you brush your teeth, like the toilet is where you poop, the office is where you work, the bed is where you sleep or you get intimate, right? So it's like there's clear boundaries in our house. But sometimes he comes in and he just like puts his hat on the counter. And I'm like, no, your hat doesn't go there. Like it goes. Love you, babe, if you ever listen to this, which you probably won't, and it's fine. I'm not offended, right? Like, put your hat like in the closet, or put it where your hat's going. On the dresser, or put it where like if you come in, like you take your shoes off, like they don't need to be like in the kitchen. Like put your shoes where in the shoe cubby by the door. Right? Because we don't wear shoes in our house. So everything has a place, right? And you can kind of understand those boundaries in a house. And so if you can start to understand those boundaries for your business. So maybe you work from home. So where is the boundary of not only the time that you're going to work, but the place that you're going to work? Okay. So if this means that you have to clear out a closet to make it your little work closet, and that is the boundary, like if you are working, you are in the closet, right? That doesn't mean that you bring your laptop on the couch. It doesn't mean that you bring your laptop in the kitchen. It doesn't mean that you bring your phone into your bed. It means that this is actually my work space, and your brain can kind of categorize that as, oh, okay, I'm working. And it actually makes it easier for you to get into work mode in your brain instead of having those places bleed back and forth, right? So instead of now all of a sudden you've been working on your laptop in your bed, and now all of a sudden your brain starts to connect work and your bed, and now all of a sudden you're waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning and you're thinking about work. Well, and it's because your brain has made that connection that space and that area is now where you do work. Okay. So understand that it's not only time boundaries that are very, very helpful to implement, but it is also space boundaries if you're working at home. Now, if you're not able to necessarily, like I have a hard time working from home sometimes, because for me, home can then bleed into, right? Like the boundaries of home can also like bleed into my boundaries of work. I might be like sitting down to write different things, to write or to do email sequencing or to record a podcast or to create some content or to do some customer service stuff. And all of a sudden I like get this random thought like, oh, I should organize my son's sippy cup drawer. Oh yeah, like I haven't, like it's not organized because he helps us put away dishes and he's 6, right? So it's kind of, it's a drawer of only his sippy cups, like that's where it goes. So everything has a place. But on inside of the sippy cup drawer, because he's 6, he doesn't perfectly line them up, right? So it's a little bit of a mess in there. And I just, like if I work at home, I then get these random thoughts like, oh yeah, I should organize the sippy cup drawer. It's like, no, I shouldn't. That is me procrastinating on something that I haven't done for a year, and the sippy cups are fine, right? Like, so it's having a really good vision or understanding of yourself, of where you function and how you function best. Okay, so if there is a day and a time where you function really, really well, harness that energy and get in the right space and make the plans to do what you need to do within that time. Okay. So for me, I actually am super like inspired and productive and creative, and I'm going to get stuff done typically between about 11 and 1, or excuse me, like 10 o'clock, right in there to 1, maybe into 2, depending on how I slept the night before and if I got a workout in or not, or what I have going on. And so it's kind of just like this, like 9 or 10 o'clock is like right when I start getting like the ideas and the inspiration and the excitement, and then until like around 1 or 2. And so if I can harness that time frame and understand, okay, that's when I'm going to work, that's when I'm going to get stuff done, I'm going to be, I'm going to create, I'm going to like do these different things, that's when I can harness it. So where do I need to be to harness that, like to get the most done, which is not organizing my sippy cup drawer, right? But how can I also set boundaries around, so not only the time and the place. So now all of a sudden, if I know, okay, like let's say 10 to 2, okay, is this time I'm going to harness. How do I set myself up for success within that? So I know this is a boundary, 10 to 2. and I'm going to have my to-do list. I'm going to have my time blocked within that time to 2, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm nourishing myself within that time. So I'm going to have, snacks and water. If I need to like go take a quick little walk, there's going to be a quick little break in there. But I'm going to have that set aside time. For me, I know I'm not super inspired or like gung-ho at 5 a.m. Like I've tried the 5 a.m. club, and dear God, that is just not for me. I might wake up, I might like read, if I'm waking up before my son for school, I might do some reading or, like kind of haphazard, like do some squats and push-ups and just kind of move around. Maybe I'm meditating, I'm journaling, I'm just kind of taking it slower. And then when he gets up for school, like we're in school mode, I'm in mom mode, and then he's off to school, and then I have some time there. And then afterwards, I then go back into mom mode. And there might be, a little bit of crossover if we have a meeting or he is still in kids club, or that, if I have a quick call, like he and I communicate that with him. But then it's like mom mode, and we're hanging out, we are doing stuff together. I'm looking at, like, asking him about his day, and yes, I tell him about my day too, and this is work, and this is what I got to do today, or I met with this person today. So there is communication that goes on, but I'm not like phone in my face, laptop in my face, unless I'm very clear about that this is a time for mommy to work. And so those boundaries are being set throughout. And so maybe you're finding that you are, where maybe you're like, okay, that could maybe help, where if I implement a time boundary, like that will help me get more done. Or if I implement a space boundary or a location boundary, that will help. Now, I also want to talk about boundaries when it comes to clients and potential customers. Like, what is your responsibility and what is not your responsibility to take on? And this can be kind of a touchy subject, because a lot of times, like we, especially like as a business owner, as a woman business, as someone that genuinely, and if you're listening to this, I know that you like genuinely care for your people and like care about what it is that you're offering them, and care like you love your business. Like you're not doing it because you want to like provide crappy products or services. Like you're doing it because you love what you do, and you're doing it because you love the people that you serve. And so I'm going to give you this actual real life example that just recently happened. And with our local chapter here, we had a gal decided that she reached out to our customer service. Well, she reached out to, first of all, me on Facebook. And I'm not necessarily on Facebook a ton. And she was needed to either cancel or pause her chapter membership. She's been a member for a while. We love her, love her business. And it's totally fine. Like we have like no hard feelings, like still love and support her for sure. She reached out to me on Facebook, and I'm not on Facebook a ton. I'm more on Instagram. And then for Business and Bubbly for customer service emails, I have a specific email address. I have specific directions. This is sent out multiple times in emails. Like this is on the website. This is like in multiple places. Like if you need customer service, like do not send Charity Majors a direct message on social media. Like most businesses, like there is a customer service line, right? And it's very clear in documentation. And she sent me a message on Facebook saying that she wanted to cancel her Sip and Social membership. And I didn't see it for a while because I didn't necessarily check my messages on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook a ton, and that's not necessarily where I handle customer service, or my team handles customer service stuff, right? So all of a sudden she then writes me I think she writes an email, not in the customer service email. And it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. It gets sent to spam because it came from her business thing. So I didn't see it in my spam folder. And she then found me on Instagram. So I give her props. She is following up with this, which is awesome. And she's like, I'm frustrated. I have sent you a message on Facebook, and I sent you an email to this email address, and it wasn't my business address. It was a personal one that I rarely check. Maybe she got it from Facebook. I don't know. How you set up your Facebook back in the day in college, and it's an old email address. So I can understand her frustration for sure. She's like, I have to take a break. We've got some stuff going on with our family. I need to, like take a break from my membership. And I was like, oh, perfect. Like, no worries. I'm sorry. I don't check my Facebook a ton. And like, I pulled up that email and I was like, oh, it ended up in spam. And I was like, here's the customer service email, send them a message and they can totally get you taken care of. And so she sent them a message and they sent her the link where she can adjust her membership. And there's a couple buttons on there where I actually share a video of what could potentially be going on. Maybe someone's just too busy and they just need to pause their membership. Maybe they really do want to cancel, or maybe they need a little bit more business help and they want to keep going, but here's kind of a couple different business assets that they get access to if they want to keep their membership. So there's 3 different options. And the records that we show was that she paused her membership. Great. She's going to pause it for 60 days. It's very clear in the verbiage that after 60 days, her membership will start back up. She gets emails. How we set this up then on the back end is that there's multiple emails that go out that reminding you your membership is on pause, and then like leading up to it, like you're 1 month, left of your pause, 2 weeks left of your pause, like 1 week left of your pause, like you're starting back up tomorrow. Like it's this whole sequence that we have set out. And so then her membership starts back up. Well, now all of a sudden she's mad that she paid again, and she takes it out on Facebook. She's like, I'm so frustrated with this business. I canceled it and now I'm getting charged again, and they have my credit card information and I'm scared they're just going to keep charging me and I can't even cancel this thing. And I reached out to her on Facebook, to the founder on Facebook, and I just keep getting ignored. And she had sent another email to customer service. Good job. Like she followed directions that time. And then I just actually happened to randomly be on Facebook and saw the post that she had shared it like a couple days earlier. And I was like, I reached out to her because first of all, like I wanted to be intentional about not only like meeting her where she was at, but I also wanted to get to the bottom of it. Cause like, I don't want like not only unhappy customers, but I think it's unfortunate that people take things to social media instead of just like to the source. Right. So our team and I did some like diving into like what happened. Was it a glitch on the payment processing side of things? Or was it her mistake? Was it our mistake? Like I said, I'm so sorry this is happening. I don't know. Maybe it is a mistake with payment processing. Like we sent you the link, like, we know you chose whatever it was that you chose, and come to find out, like we looked at our records and she had paused the membership. And so it was after that 60 days, like I mentioned, that it had restarted. And she like swore up and down that she had pushed the cancel button. So we like checked all of our back end stuff to make sure that our buttons were functioning correctly, that when you choose the cancel button, it cancels. When you choose the pause button, it pauses, that it goes into the right sequencing on the back end system. Everything was good on our end. And so I could understand, like for me, I then got to practice this boundary of saying like, we love and support you. And this is what we have on our end. Like we're happy to take, we refunded the charge. Like we're happy to take responsibility. We know you wanted to cancel. What we have shows is that you pushed pause, that you received the emails, that you've been notified. Like, did you get those? Did you, so it was just kind of this conversation that happened back and forth as far as like, I'm taking responsibility for our part. And at the same time, as a customer, she needs to take responsibility for her part. Right. And so like, I now get to practice the emotional boundary of like this girl that's been in our membership that we love, that we support, like we love her and her business, and her emotional regulation or dysregulation or her frustration is not my responsibility to take on, because our records show that she paused, and despite the bazillion emails that go out notifying somebody, she didn't necessarily take responsibility for her side of things. And that's okay. Like, right. Like there have been times where I've been frustrated with something on Amazon and I'm like, this was not right. And I know I pushed this button, and, like they're happy to change things out. So yes, like we're happy to make it right. And for me, I don't necessarily have to Like if it was something wrong that we did, if it was something wrong in our system, if it was something that was wrong, like on our side of things, like absolutely, we can take responsibility for that. We can fix it. We can make sure our buttons are correctly. We can refund the whatever. Like we're happy to do that stuff. And like, what's our responsibility? What can we control? I can't control what buttons she pushed, what choice she chose on the choice on the page of the buttons of whether to pause or to cancel. And so it was this clear business boundary for me that says, okay, like at least for me, like not only, again, reiterating that customer service is done through like specific customer service emails and lines and not through Facebook. And she's also a small business owner, like it's just her. So she's very used to having business be done on Facebook for her. So there's an understanding, like that's not how I do my business. And so, right, so there's a boundary of actually, here's where you can take care of customer service things, because social media is not where that happens because of records, because of, different buttons, because I have a team that helps take care of that. So for you, maybe you're listening to this and you're saying, ooh, okay, what boundaries or systems can I put in place to help with customers? What boundaries and systems can I put in place, right? So I have a specific customer service email address where all of that stuff goes so that I can keep records, so that I can have all of that stuff like as needed. And it doesn't necessarily go to my personal whatever thing at Yahoo or at Gmail, right? Because that, like, there's, that's more like my kids send, like my kids' school sends me information about school, right? So there's boundaries that are set up even in, whether it's in email, whether it's even in social media, and in the systems that we can set up for our business. So where in your business do you need to set up boundaries that can help put up those fences, right? It's not a wall, right? Like if there was a wall, like I just would have like blown off this girl and said, nope, you didn't send my customer service email, wall, right? Like too bad, so sad for you. I'm taking your money, right? Like that's a wall compared to a fence where there's a gate in the fence and we get to allow, to come in and out of the fence of our boundary line. And so, so where can you set up a fence around your business to be able to allow for clear lines to be set between your life and your business, between maybe your social media and customer service, between systems that you have or that you want to have implemented in your business, compared to like the place where you're like, here's a cute picture of my kid and I don't want to tell you about anything with my business, right? Like between social media. So maybe it's separate accounts, maybe it's separate email addresses, maybe it is you're beginning to separate and set those boundaries between different things, and then you teach and train your clients and your customers and your people how to be able to interact with you, and where is the appropriate a place to interact with you when it comes to dealing with your business, and then when it comes to dealing with your life. And those are, those appropriate places. That's done in your email campaigns, like in teaching them and training them. That's making sure that if they can't find a button, that you're changing the location of the button so that it is easy for them to access. It's clear communication. It's repeated communication, right? There's a reason that in the back end of a lot of our email systems that people, they're getting communication multiple times. Like when someone joins a chapter and they become a business bestie with Business and Bubbly, they get multiple emails that say, hey, here's your perks. Are you taking advantage of them? Hey, just a reminder, take advantage of your perks. Like, hey, just a reminder, here's what you have to do. Here's a reminder. Like, there's multiple reminders because things just get lost in translation. People don't check their email. It gets sent to spam. It gets, lost in the shuffle. It gets down, into the next page, like whatever that might be. And so if we can make sure to almost over communicate or to always teach people where to be able to go, right? So for another example, there was another girl, a girlfriend of mine, and she had joined the membership, and then and she had wanted to start, had started a new business, but then it took a break and stopped that business and was in the process of setting up her now new nonprofit. And she was like, hey, I need to pause my membership. And she sent it to me again on Instagram. And I was like, perfect. Like, here's the email address, send a message, right? Like, or something else like, hey, when's the date of the event again? And I was like the website has the information. So it's like teaching and training people, like instead of being completely dependent on me for the answer, I'm teaching them to be like understand that there are systems that are out there for them to know where to find the answer, right? So I don't want to create people that are dependent on me, because that's a powerless position, and that is almost like codependency. But I want to create people that know that they're powerful, that know that, hey, I can find a resource. Oh yeah, I can just go to the website. It has the date 17 times on the website. Or, where's that link? It's in your confirmation email. Check your email, right? Like, I'm not going to be the one that then goes and pulls it out and finds the link and the whatever, and then sends it to them, right? I'm going to be able to point them in the direction towards the system so that they become dependent on the resources that are in place instead of dependent on me as a person. So maybe that's something that you need to do within your business as well. So this is no longer a quick sip tip. This is apparently a longer episode, but that's fine. We're just drinking from the fire hose today when it comes to different ideas for boundaries in your business. And I hope that these examples have been helpful. As always, I'm happy to lift the curtain on what it looks like to not only build a business, but to be a founder, but to grow community and to just be a woman in business, and the ups and the downs and the ugly in-betweens and the amazing times and the crappy times. That's what this is really all about. So I hope that this episode has helped you. If you are wanting to implement boundaries in your business, I encourage you to do that. Again, it gets a little messy in the middle as you reteach and retrain people who maybe they used to come to you as the resource, and now you're like having to retrain them to say, actually, it's on the website. Yeah, it's on the website. It's on the website. It's on the website. It's on the website, right? Then have grace for yourself in the messy middle, but boundaries in business are super, super helpful. And it only happens by you understanding that you are a powerful person, that you can like set and stick with the boundaries that you implement within your life, within your business, and that it will only serve you moving forward. Again, boundaries are fences. They are not walls, but they need to be clear enough with the understanding, and you have to then be able to stick with the boundaries that you set. So if you're not going to work anymore in your bed, or you're not going to have your phone on anymore past 8 p.m. because the blue light is bad for you and your sleep cycles and your REM cycles, like, hold yourself accountable. And when we hold ourselves accountable, when we actually, when we keep the promises that we make to ourselves, that actually helps us grow in confidence for anything else that comes for us or with us or at us, or that we journey into the future. So, all right, my friend, I'm going to end this episode. Enough fire hosing for the day. As always, cheers, cheers, cheers to your success. I'm proud of you. Set those boundaries, girl. Stick to them. You've got this, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.